Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Nina Kauser Show. Another horrible weekend ruined by the Reds. This time round, losing to another piss-poor side in Leeds United. 2-1 at Anfield. Embarrassing, shocking. It's beyond taking the mick now. It's comical. I'm speechless. Hopefully my panel and my callers will have more to say on this. I'm becoming quite numb. Joining me on this podcast, I am delighted to share this podcast because they'll be doing most of the talking whilst I sit there in disbelief. I am delighted to be joined by Dave Horrocks. Dave, welcome to the show.
Hey Nina, thanks for having me again. Here to participate in a bit of group therapy, which hopefully at the end of this call I'll feel a lot better than I do after that match.
Well, all I'm going to say on that is you're getting nothing from me. So my next guest and panelist better bring her A game. You know, we were together for the Nottingham Forest loss, and here we are again. How did we get here, Lisa?
Yes, I would like to say I'm happy to join you. I am happy to join you, Nina and Dave, because it is always pleasant to chat with you. I just wish it was under happier circumstances. I would like to offer that perhaps I am a jinx, as I've now been on your show 2 losses in a row. So, you know, if you don't want me to participate ever again, I will not be offended in the least.
Don't blame me. I don't blame anyone. Today, anyone can behave how they want. I'm absolutely disgusted with everything that I've seen. But anyway, you know what? Let me just quickly go to our first caller because I do appreciate that it is late. I'm going to go straight in to Kieran. Kieran, you know what to do. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, what would you like to share, Kieran?
Well, I just want to say that was an absolutely diabolical display. I would argue that is our worst home performance since West Ham beat us 3-0 in the dying embers of the Brendan reign. It was that bad. I thought, like you said before, the one thing I would say about us that concerns me right now is that we lack that urgency. And honestly, God, the calamitous errors at the back they drive you up the wall. And obviously, also I want to say credit to Leeds. I thought Leeds were very good on the night, and they deserved to win the game. In my opinion, we deserved absolutely nothing. The only person I think will be happy is probably my old fella, because my old fella was obviously a big Leeds fan. Obviously got rest, but yeah, I mean, he'll also be happy wherever else. So, like I said before, it was just a bad night, and I think right now I say our league season is obviously Terry's title was over. It was over since we lost the United, in my opinion. But in terms of top 4, oh dear, I think that's I can't see us getting top 4 right now. We're that bad, even if we invest in January.
Yeah, it's grim viewing. It really is grim viewing. I'm not even going to look at the table. There was a time when I used to bounce on that stuff. But Kieran, thank you so much for calling.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you very much. I just wish it was under better circumstances. We've had one too many disappointing phone-ins. But so look, I just don't know where we go from here. I honestly don't. I just can't wait till the World Cup break happens, because at least then the Reds just can't leave your weekend in tatters.
Mm. Right, guys. Let's crack on. Let's crack on. I'm gonna come to Dave first on this. Team lineup. Just quickly. Any surprises for you there? Anything that kind of shocked you? I pretty much thought he went with a strong lineup, given obviously injuries aside and everything, the best that he could have possibly gone with. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see how you improve on that, given who's available. The thing that I was disturbed by is just, again, the formation change. We talked about.
Disturbed by. I love the fact that you just said the word disturbed. The thing that I was disturbed.
Well, you look at the lineup, and you just, for the last 6-7 years, we've seen this 4-3-3. In fact, I think Brendan played it before Klopp even got in. So the DNA of this team is 4-3-3, and it just feels like we're devoid of ideas, and we've just thrown the baby out with the bathwater. So, yep, in terms of the lineup, I thought it was a strong lineup. But, whereas in the past we've called ourselves the mentality monsters, we just seem incredibly fragile at the minute. And so I was confident when I looked at the lineup, but this season, it feels like a couple of seasons ago, doesn't it, when just nothing would go for us, and so I was not feeling confident going into the game, despite that strong lineup.
I think that's fair. Given how terrible they have been in the league and stuff. What about you, Lisa? I mean, team lineup for you, probably the best again that he could have gone with. It is what it is, right?
Yeah, agree. I mean, the lineup, was pretty much what I expected it to be. And I don't think that can really be the blame for the performance that we saw. It was it's a strong lineup. I mean, actually, with the exception of Elliott, strongest 11. And again, Elliott has played a lot of football so far this season. So, yeah, anyway, I don't think the lineup was, it wasn't one of those where I can, we can point to that and say, ooh, that's work on. I think we started out very strong, and that really certainly wasn't an issue.
Absolutely. And I think here now, guys, I want to kind of speak to you about this, because it didn't start off great, did it? I think maybe the writing was on the wall, Dave, pretty much as soon as we concede that absolute brain fart boggling goal where, I think it was Aronson on Gomez, and he looked like he did quite well, turned him around, played what seemed like a standard routine pass back to his goalie. What happens with Alisson Becker, who's been an absolute, I'd say, phenomenal player for us this season, and he has, it's just an absolute mess between them. And
it was. I think it was just Gomez didn't look before us. Alisson came too far forward and couldn't get back, and it was an uncharacteristic error from Alisson, and it cost us.
It really did. And Dave, what did you make of that? 4 minutes in as well. Really not the start that the Reds needed. Not the start at all. But what kind of gave me a little bit of confidence was the fact that obviously just been watching Leeds and studying Leeds. Was the simple fact that one thing I've known is they always take the lead first, and all their bad results have come from brain fart defensive errors. So I was like, we'll get a goal against them. And they did look wobbly in defence. But what did you make of just the poor start and how it kind of maybe set the tone and maybe the mood for you? Because I was still optimistic, as strange as that sounds, because I know they do ship in a lot of goals.
Yeah, you were going into it and you're thinking, Lightning can't strike twice. We can't lose against the bottom team again. But the goal, I wasn't even that surprised. It was just an absolute calamity, wasn't it? And, it's just been consistent with our season, I think. And, it's one of those rare goals where I think, okay, I think I could have scored that one. I mean, Rodri does anticipate the mistake, doesn't he? And I think, I don't know why Gomez doesn't even look where Alisson is, and he obviously gets flat-footed, Alisson, and it's just one of those comical goals that it just seems to be totally on par with us. And you're sort of thinking, well, as bad as Leeds have been, if you're going to concede, do it early, because you've got as much of the game to go at them after that. But I feel like it doesn't feel to me like we ever properly recovered from that, because we always looked shaky at the back. And it was just a surprise. There's only 3 goals in the game. I thought that this score could have been anything, because it was like a basketball game. Never really felt like we had proper control of it. And just always, both defences I thought looked really shaky at the back.
I think that is a fair observation. And you know what? You said concede. If you're going to concede early, you've got plenty of time to get back into it. And it just took 10 minutes for Mo Salah to find the back of the net. I thought it was a really, really nice team goal in terms of how, players were kind of passing it around. I kind of like the switch of play between, I think it was Trent Alexander-Arnold to Robertson, and then Robertson just hooking it into the box, and Mo Salah to just connect with it. And I thought, I'm going to put that out there, Dave. I thought Robertson actually had a really good game. I felt like in the first half, there was a lot of creativity coming from the left-hand side, and Robertson looked quite on it.
Yeah, I don't think he could have done much more, really. Absolute peach of a cross, wasn't it? I mean, the ball came in from Salah on the right, and then the ball ends up coming right over to the left, and then peach of a cross right to the back post. Again, Salah has to anticipate where that's going, and he always seems to be in the right place at the right time, doesn't he? So, I mean, at that point, I'm kind of thinking, right, let's go after them, because, again, we've seen the form of Leeds, and you're just thinking, we know what this team is capable of, so we can't continue to be this bad. But yeah, it was great to score that goal, but he didn't really kick on from there.
No, he really didn't. And Lisa, I mean, what did you make when Mo Salah got the goal and stuff? And just obviously Liverpool, I felt like the response seemed quite good. Like, we did have chances, and we were trying to have chances, and of course that one was converted.
Exactly. I mean, I was disappointed at, the concession of the early goal. But again, you could see it was sort of a miscommunication, chain of errors, as I said. And, when we got one back, in less than 10 minutes, I thought, okay. I really wasn't worried. I honestly wasn't worried. And, and I agree with what you were saying. I mean, Robertson had overall a good game. He put in a lot of, some good crosses and some other things, and there was kind of a lot happening down the left, and he really seemed to be, mopping up some stray passes and some other things. And so, he's one who can probably hold his head up. But, it was just, my notes at the beginning were things like, especially early on, our passing was just all over the place. We couldn't seem to hold on to the ball. And it was just kind of weird. But then it seemed to settle in. And I thought, okay. And anyway, I mean, I'm jumping way ahead. But no, after we got, after Mo scored that goal, my heart kind of dropped back out of my throat into my chest. And I thought, okay, because, it was at 12, 13 minutes that goal was scored. So I thought, okay, we got this. And unfortunately, I was wrong.
We didn't get this. Yeah, I was the same, Lisa. I was the same. I thought, yep, I know what this Leeds team's all about. I know what'll happen. We all know, of course, the last game that they won was way in August when they put in that monster performance against Chelsea, which we all remember. We were like, yeah, they have not been great. Their manager's under a lot of pressure. But you know what? We'll get into those things in a minute. I do have another caller. Del, are you there?
I am here, but I don't want to be here.
You asked to be on here.
Hey, Nina, Dave, Lisa.
Hello, Del.
Yeah, man. What do I say? You know what it is. Yeah, I'll be brutally honest with you. This feels awfully like that film called Space Jam.
Yeah.
And Klopp has morphed into Joe Pictor, the director of Space Jam. Yeah. What the fuck are we witnessing with this Liverpool team? It's unrecognisable. In Champions League, we play in a certain way, and in the Premier League, it's like proper Jekyll and Hyde. You never know what you're expecting from them. Yeah. In regards to the game's performance today, I don't actually think we played that bad. Yeah. It's like the Leeds goalkeeper just had one of those games of his life. Yeah. Where he was stretching, he was diving, he was first to the ball at everything. Yeah, I don't think he'll ever have a game like that ever in his life again. But
I do think Meslier is a good keeper, though. You know, I don't.
Yeah, 100%. He's a good keeper, but it was like
so young,
an out of body experience.
Yeah, he looks about 10.
He does.
Yeah,
He looks like he's 12.
but honest to God, guys, we were so shocking in the final third. I think nothing was nothing. Yeah, defensively, I think okay, fine. Yes, we fucked up in the first 4 minutes, but so did Leeds. But they recovered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So why couldn't we create an onslaught on them during that time? Instead of that, so we capitulated and we thought, hey, you know what? We'll be the good charitable team. We give you the goal first. The hell is this? It's not even Christmas yet, and we're giving the teams goals for nothing. Yeah, it's starting to really piss me off. And you know what? Honest to God, I'm known as a person as Mr. Positivity on the AI.
You are.
I've given up, but I've given up in the Premier League this season. I've seriously given up. Yeah, we'll finish in top 4, but guys, Nina, I'm sorry, but you might need to have a call-in show for the League Cup and the FA Cup. Yeah, because I think that's the only time I'm ever gonna jump on now.
This was I'm not being funny. Like, that's really unfair. Like, the fact that I have to get a positive Del for the cup games because the Reds aren't performing in the league. Making more work for me. Might have to at this rate.
Nina, please help me out. Please, for the love of God, help me. Yeah. No, seriously, guys. I'm really, really annoyed. Let's just hope after the World Cup, the pre-season, as in, we have another mid-season pre-season. The players come back to full fitness. Hopefully this time now, Klopp isn't stubborn and goes into the market in January and buys a couple of midfielders that we desperately need. Yeah. And you never know, in the second half, we'll kick on. But in terms of us winning the league, ain't happening. Yeah, so congratulations, Man City. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Del, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys. Dave, Lisa, take care, my days.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you, Del.
Thank you, Del.
Del's trying to overwork me like Jurgen Klopp and asking me to host another show. Right, guys, you know what? Something what Del said there, where he said, I don't think Liverpool play particularly bad, and he made some points, and I want to kind of run some things by you. So I've got some stats here from FootMob. Ball possession, I know it doesn't mean an awful lot. 69% to their 31. 1.89 XG to theirs being 1.68. 22 shots to their 14. 3 big chances for us. 2 big chances missed. Accurate passes, 549, 82%. That is to their 192, 64%. So, and Del did say, guys, that, Liverpool just looked really, really kind of, wasteful. And there were some big chances, weren't there, guys? And talk to me about that. I mean, what do you make of the stats? I just want to have a chat. I don't want to come to either or of you. I think 3 mates just need to chat this out. That's what was the frustrating thing, because Liverpool did get served chances. They just failed to take them. And that is the difference between what they did against Ajax, where they weren't great and they got their chances and killed the game. And this is where they did not learn them lessons and they didn't apply that. And I just felt like we were wasteful. Sometimes I felt like we were guilty of maybe trying to walk that ball into the net. I mean, talk to me, guys.
Yeah, regarding the chances, it just really didn't seem to be like it was Nunes' night. He just, I don't know. He just didn't seem to be making the right passes, making the right connection, or whatever. But definitely not his night. And yeah, I don't know. That's my thoughts on the chances. What do you think, Dave?
Against Ajax, Nunes missed that chance, which is probably the worst miss I've seen since Ronnie Rosenthal hit the bar in the open net. I just couldn't believe that he missed it. And every time I see the replay, I think he's going to score it. And obviously it didn't matter because he scored later and we came away with the result. But I remember thinking after the Ajax game, I just thought, you know what, he's going to miss some really good chances and it's going to cost us. And I feel like that was tonight. There was a couple of times when I just thought he needed to do better. And you know what? We've been so spoiled, haven't we? With Mane on that left-hand side, because he gets a chance and he's finishing it off. We've had that. We had that for like 6 years. He had that little spell, didn't he, for about 6 months where he just seemed to go off a little bit and sort of lost his mojo a bit. But generally speaking, he was clinical. And I think, we're just going to have a little bit of an inconsistent time with Nunes. He's as likely to smash one in, a brilliant worldie as he is to miss a bit of a sitter. And when he was put through, I think it was Trent, just put a long ball through, but he was through one-on-one with the keeper. And he just didn't look like he backed himself. Tried to cut inside, the keeper did well. And I thought the keeper had a decent game, but he didn't produce worldy saves. They were all very savable. And so, yeah, we did have the big chances, but I've just seen a tweet from Simon Brundish there that we got outrun by 11 kilometres, which is a whole player. That's an Adam Lallana, his highest stamina. I just don't get it. This is a real problem now. I mean, I don't know. At what point do we say this is a crisis? Because Kieran mentioned before about after the United game. I said after the United game to friends and stuff, I'll take top 4 right now because this team looks out on its feet. There is something desperately wrong, and I don't know what it is. You have to put it down to the coaching. You can't go from looking like one of the fittest teams in the league to looking like you're so sluggish. And we seem to have evolved to this team that we think we can do it all with the possession football, but everything looks so slow, so laboured, so sluggish. But there's enough quality in there to put away a team like Leeds. But you've got to run for the ball as well.
I'm just going through things, and I'm on the chat, and NFI goes, Klopp has 2 choices: one, stick with what's going on and be sacked in January; 2, swallow pride and change VVD to captain. He will choose number 1. Now, I think that's really, really interesting because obviously today Virgil van Dijk lost his record, right? And a lot of people were tweeting about it. I just want to go on record and say I don't give a fuck about his record. We just lost to Leeds. Does that make sense? Like, I don't give a fuck about you. Do you know what I mean? Like, it has, but I just would just that comment, because obviously there will be a lot of people calling for Klopp's head and stuff. And obviously there will, but first of all, the manager should, and most definitely, and his coaching staff should be held accountable, as we all agree. But, you talk about sacking a Klopp. Who do you have in mind? Who are you going to bring in? Exactly. Are we Wolverhampton Wanderers, where you just sack a manager and you don't have anybody in replace? Are we going to be that knee-jerky? And yeah, I have always believed that Virgil van Dijk should be Liverpool's captain. But in this instance, I just want to go on record and say the captain armband don't change anything in this result today. I don't think the defence was overly great. I'm just going to put that out there. I thought when Henderson came on, I thought he did okay, in my humble opinion. I'm just going to say it. And, I'm not being funny. I think the captain is more than just an armband on your sleeve. I think, Virgil van Dijk is the natural leader amongst those players in general, but it's just not been going great. And I don't think anyone had an issue. Like, we won those things. We won all those things with Jordan Henderson as captain anyway. I don't think it's anything to do with an armband. I just think they're all playing really, really shit.
Exactly. And first of all, the only reason Virgil still has that record is because the season, of course, the defensive injury season, he wasn't able to play, when we were losing games and everything else. So, I mean, while I respect that as a record and it's fantastic, part of the reason he has that record is because he was out for the 2021 season. So let's put it in a little bit of perspective, people. But yeah, I mean, you're right. The armband, while important, is not everything. And, and there's times where whoever does have that armband can be doing things, be it Henderson, be it Virgil, be it whomever, that can make a difference on the field, but, it's not the only thing that can make a difference on the field. And you're right. I didn't think, Henderson played okay. I thought he played okay today. Now, I will admit he was probably on the field for maybe 10 minutes before I was kind of like, oh, I need to be sort of paying attention to how Hendo's playing. But the fact that I didn't notice anything glaring prior to that, to me, is kind of a, something. So, we weren't playing great before he came on. So I don't think he can be blamed for anything, one way or the other.
Yeah, I think that as well. And I'm just going to also go on record and say that Virgil van Dijk record is absolutely phenomenal, by the way. The fact that we've not lost in 4.5 seasons. So, he's incredible. Nobody's, saying anything bad about Virgil van Dijk here. It's not, we love him. We adore him. The fact that he kept that record is phenomenal. And you know what? One day he was going to lose it. The fact that it took him 4.5 years, that's pretty remarkable. I'm just going to, again, say that. It just shows what a colossus he is in defence. I mean, Dave, that is going to come now, and the media is going to be all on him, and obviously there will be some knee-jerky reactions to Jurgen Klopp. For me, it's so much more deeper than just saying things like that. I feel like we've spoken in the past, you and I think it's post-Arsenal game. It's, he needs to start investing in players again. We need to refresh that squad. And I think that's where the negligence has been.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't know if this is FSG. And I'm not, I'm a million miles away from saying, replace Klopp with someone. Because I don't know. I've thought for years Klopp is the perfect manager for us, but he has seemingly lost his shine a little bit, and I've been disturbed by some of the things that he's come out to say. Everyone says about you need to sign a midfielder, but who would you sign? Who improves us, kind of thing. Where do you give youngsters a chance?
Somebody messing up. That's like me. I'm shit.
Well, I just that disturbs me more than anything. Because I think, well, okay, while we can blame the board and not making funds available, if Klopp really thinks we don't need to replenish that midfield, for me, I thought Thiago was one of the shining lights. I thought him.
Yes, and Robertson, he was sensational. Thank you.
I don't think he could have done any more, but you need the legs around him, and I still think that Klopp team, when it was at its peak, it did have the front three firing on all cylinders, but there was so much running in the midfield, and when you cover that ground, it does make it feel like you've got that extra player, and to lose that, I'm perplexed as to, is this just that the players are tired, or is there something? It's a bit of a weird season, isn't it, with the World Cup coming? They changed how they're training or something, because they must have on record what people's personal bests are on sprints and how fatigued they are and all this stuff. So I can't believe that it's a surprise as to how slow and sluggish we look. It's not just about with the ball, it's every player looks sluggish, and someone like Fabinho, you'd have said he is one of our world class players. But at the minute, you wouldn't say so. He's not really shown that this season. But is that a mentality thing? Is it is he carrying an injury? It's just not clear. But I do think
Are you that person who has everything? The coolest merch and those must-have fan threads? Well, over at our Anfield Index shop, we've gone that extra mile when it comes to pimping up your Liverpool collection. From our popular range of bespoke design t-shirts, sweaters, hoodies and hats, to our signature edition mugs, prints and coasters, all provided with fast worldwide shipping. We have something for every red. We also stock official LFC merchandise and are licensed with the Premier League and UEFA to sell official iron-on shirt badges and sleeve patches. As a listener to this podcast, you can get 10% off everything with coupon code AIPRO10. Just head over to AnfieldIndex.shop or find us on Etsy by searching for Anfield Index.
we've missed that opportunity to really recruit, when we're at the top. That's what we did. When we were at the top in the kind of 70s and 80s, we always bought and blended people into the squad when we were at our peak, and United did it for years as well. And we've missed our opportunity now because you're already into a rebuild job. We've got some great young players like Elliott. I think it's going to be brilliant. I think Carvalho looks a real talent. But the middle bit, the mid-20s group, obviously we've got like Luis Diaz, unfortunately out at the minute, Jota, but I just feel like we're missing that, and it puts a bit of pressure on the youngsters, and I don't think the older players, fuck me, Milner comes on again.
And actually, yeah, and involved in the whole setup of the goal as well, wasn't he? But we'll get to that in a minute. I just have another caller. I'm just going to bring JC Tyrone onto the show. JC Tyrone, you there?
Hi, Nina. You hear me?
Perfectly, my friend. The floor is yours. You know what to do.
Well, Nina, the last time I called in, we just beat Man City, and here we are calling in, just getting beaten at home by Leeds, and it's just emotionally drained by this football team this last 2 months. I cannot get my head around what is going on. Dave spoke well there about Klopp's remarks during the summer. That's when I was most angry. We bought Darwin Núñez, I think it was June 15th, and the reporters released a statement 2 days afterwards saying we weren't buying any more players. How did Liverpool, one of the great top 5 teams in Europe, release a statement saying that they're not interested in buying any more players on the 15th of June when the window doesn't close until August 30th or September 1st? It's mental, just to have that. I don't know, it's not audacity or whatever it is, but to think that you had a team there and everyone knew that the team wasn't there, was getting older, getting tired. Even if it wasn't getting older, you still need new and improved ideas, But I cannot, a lot of knee-jerk reactions, of course, about Klopp and stuff. But I'd said before, even when we were playing crap there this last couple of games, you got to give him 12 months. He's one of the greatest managers in the world right now, and he's one of the greatest we've had this last 30 years. So he definitely deserves time. But what Dave mentioned it. Are we in a rebuild, or how far more down do we have to go in this spiral before we realize we hit bottom? So I don't know. It's just disappointing. I'm sure everybody's disappointed. I can't believe it. But I'll leave it. I'll hand it back to you. Thanks, Neil.
No, it's thank you so much, John. Thank you for your call, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. That's all I can say on the matter, and put the Reds aside. But yeah, Kieran kind of alluded, has put in the chat as well there, that this season is on Klopp, not the owners, because he was more than happy to sack off signing a midfielder after missing out on Tchouaméni. It is, and also what John said there as well. I think for me and Klopp right now, I don't know what's going on, right? Because for me, I just feel like we look very stale. I feel like it almost feels like people are kind of figuring out how to play us, and we're letting ourselves be figured out. I don't know if he needs a refresh in his coaching rather than the manager. I don't know. I think maybe he needs to bring more ideas and more creativity. Something needs to change because I honestly will just go on out there on record and say I don't think we get a better manager than Klopp till he's like ready to leave. He got us in this mess. I truly believe he's going to get us out of it. Up until you don't have the right, unless obviously he walks himself, which I can't see him doing. But I just think that in a couple, like this time last year, we were like in a completely different mindset. We were a completely different team. And I will never ever be knee jerky because I remember what happened with Rafa Benitez, and that humbled me for many years.
Do you think the squad is stronger or weaker than this time last year, though?
I think it's weaker because it's aged. I also think it's weaker because, in a sense, that we've had more injuries as well. I feel like it's, like obviously going back to that comment about, give Thingy the captaincy, Virgil van Dijk. I also believe that, there's certain players, you mentioned Milner there. There are certain players that should have been phased out 2 years ago, even longer. And I think that is the problem. I think Klopp's problem has been maybe the loyalty to some of these players. Not once am I saying, oh no, Jordan Henderson's incredible and should start every game. I just feel like there's just too much, like, I don't know, like agendas for and against, and like I'm gonna, I don't, I think, he's not got the legs anymore. He's been disappointing since I think since he signed that contract last year. I don't think he's been great. I'm just going to put that on record. But this is a player that should have been slowly phased out about 2 seasons ago. And that's my problem. And you spoke about James Milner there coming on for the last 10 minutes. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? You're not winning 3-1. You're not winning 4-1.
Yeah, and I think, you're right in the fact not only has the squad aged, but a lot of the players that we've brought in are almost too young, if that makes sense. Valio, they're, it's like we've got the two ends of the spectrum. Now, I will say Nunez and Diaz are, that's good. That's kind of what we should be looking at, where, they're on the younger end. They've got some good experience. And, I don't remember if it was you or Dave said just a minute ago, said something about Luis Diaz. This would have been the game for him,
Yeah.
Because he has that grit and that determination. And I mean, I didn't think about it during the game, which I'm kind of glad I didn't because it would have made me sad. But no, this would have been a fantastic game for him. He would have just relished it. And, but that's, it is what it is. That's just something we don't have any control over, nor does he. So anyway, but no, I think you're right. I think it is. It's both ends of the spectrum. While the squad has aged, and aged an experienced thing, as long as you're bringing in the new players at the right point. And I think that's it. We waited a season, 2 seasons too long to start bringing in some younger players to start kind of getting them the minutes and the experience and everything to play into this team. We missed that opportunity. We should have been doing that like 2 years ago. And, so that I think is an opportunity missed. And there's not a whole, hindsight is a wonderful thing, of course. But I think you're right on the coaching staff. I think we're not going to get anything better than Klopp at this point in time. And so I'm definitely, in no way wanting him to leave us and move on. But, that may be something, is maybe he needs to bring in some new, new members to his coaching staff to freshen that up a little bit.
Dave, have you got anything to say on the matter?
For the last, how long has it been now since we've known the World Cup is in Qatar? Best part of this last decade, I thought, fuck's sake, we're going to have a World Cup in the winter. It's ridiculous, the World Cup's such a great thing to have in the summer.
No, you know what just dawned on me? I'm going to be drinking seasonal coffees whilst I'm watching the World Cup. That is so strange.
It's weird, isn't it? It's a nonsense, and I've been kind of angry about it. It's like ridiculous. It should be in the summer. It's been the summer for as long as I can remember, and now I'm like, for fuck's sake, bring on the World Cup. Can we not roll it forward a few weeks? I mean, just put us out of our fucking misery, please, someone, because we need something, and I hope Klopp doesn't get like a commentating gig in the World Cup or something. Just go have some time on the beach, just recharge and what have you. Definitely, I mean, they're not going to do it mid-season to change the coaching staff, but something needs to be looked at there. I'm still a bit sore. I'm sure it's been spoken about many times before, but releasing a fucking book called Intensity, while you're still on the active playing staff, not after the event, looking back at your career, it just seems like a ridiculous decision to me. But it's doubly ridiculous when we've lost all of our intensity as well. So I don't know how sales of the book have gone, but I mean, I couldn't imagine they've been fantastic. But yeah, I just want to limp through to that World Cup and then hope, we can string a few results together, recharge. We need some, they don't need to be world beaters, but we need some recruitment in that midfield. We just need legs because, again, we're just being outrun by everyone. It's ridiculous. That's not this team. And unfortunately, the fact that I keep going on about the formation change, but to me, that just says that the coaching staff, so Klopp ultimately makes the final decision, but it's going to be a backroom, they're going to decide it as a team as well. That just says to me they've lost faith with everything they've been building for the last 7 years, and that is the most disturbing thing, I think. Without that, it'd just be, these one-off results and we're just playing badly and we'll come through it. It's the uncertainty, and you're just kind of lost, aren't you? You look at it and you're like, well, what would you change?
I don't think he'll go back to the 4-3-3 till he has maybe the right personnel in the midfield to deal with the situation, because whilst we have been playing the 4-3-3 this season, I feel like when Mo Salah has just been hogging that touchline, I just don't think it's worked. And for me today, I felt like, again, from the strikers, he definitely probably looked like the one that was trying to create something. I felt like he's an absolute nuisance for that Leeds United defence. I feel like he's just dealing with injuries. He's dealing with maybe the lack of personnel. And, I guess it's just bad planning. And also maybe he's thinking as well, people know how to play against us in a 4-3-3. Let me change up the formation and stuff. But obviously, naturally, things take time, and obviously with the shorter pre-season as well. But then, having said that, we started the season on the 4-3-3, right? And now, only recently, we've gone to like the 4-4-2, if you will. But I like to call it a 4-2. I don't know. I call it a 4-2-3-1 kind of situation. I don't know. But it's just one of those things where I feel like the players are getting used to it, and I think it will come good, but it's just, at the moment, I think the World Cup is like a big distraction for them. I don't know what's going on. It's not even the fact that they're playing badly. It's, you can't even put it down to one player. Like, defensively today, I just thought we were absolutely shocking. We looked absolutely shell-shocked, and we looked like jelly, and the goal that they scored around about 89 minutes, like I almost laughed, Lisa, because what else are you meant to do in that situation where you're just like, you know what, we've had so many chances, we have been utterly wasteful, like you guys have said, it was like a basketball game, we knew they were going to press us, we had to beat their press, but it is just absolutely disgusting, the fact that you don't take your chances and then you get sucker punched like that, and the way we got sucker punched as well in defence. I mean, the ball that was played in, like into like Somerville was just an absolute joke. I think, who was it played between? Was it Milner, and who was the other guy that it got played between? Was it Gomez?
I'm not sure.
But it was embarrassing, the fact that he was able to play that ball across, and then Somerville just makes a joke of our defence.
just for a minute, I want to say this. You have to give Leeds credit because they came up for it today. You know, they did not give up. You know, they could have given in once we tied it and been like, oh, well, you know, we got lucky with the first, but they didn't give up. And that Somerville, he ran his socks off. I mean, I was kind of tired watching him because it seemed like he was all over the pitch. Anyway, but yeah, just, I don't know. Credit to Leeds for coming in and, you know, and playing a good game. You know, because they have a lot of things that they could have been frustrated about at this point in time. So anyway, positivity for the other team. Yeah. You know, that I had run my feedback at halftime to look at something. I don't even remember what it was now. And, I think it was when, Robertson got into that little altercation, and I just kind of wanted to see, because I sort of looked up when everybody's tempers were flaring, so I just wanted to see it back. And so that put me, I thought I'd caught myself up, and I wasn't. So anyway, so I happened to see something on Twitter that they had scored the second. And so I knew it was coming, and I really meant to look at the build-up, and I didn't. I think my husband walked in with the margarita at that point in time and distracted me. Anyway, so yeah, but I think maybe it was Gomez again in the and no, I think we just, and that seems to be our problem this season. I mean, it's a reoccurring problem that it's like we let our foot off the gas, or we just let our guard or our attention down for just that, you know, slightly more than a split second, but it has cost us time and time again. You know, a number of the goals. That's what it has been. It has been just like, that space is allowed for the other team to get through, and it has cost us repeatedly.
Yeah, the Mauritian one just said it was Jones, so thank you, for
okay.
Right. I find that, but yeah, no.
Don't want to pile on Joe Gomez any more than, you know, anybody else has.
Yeah. Done, and it's done, but yeah, just collectively, it was just a defense, you know, it was just a defensive shambles.
Overall defensive. You know, again, same thing. It's that, and I think almost all the goals that have been scored against us this season, I mean, that's been kind of a recurring theme that, you know, someone has not tracked back, someone has not come over to cover, just, you know, and not necessarily any one player, although, you know, there have been a couple of the same players who have been guilty of it, but it has just been that slip up in concentration, and it has cost us.
It really has. And what about you, Dave? I mean, how that goal, just talk me how you felt when that went in. And you know what, for me then, like, I guess I had belief, like maybe one of these chances will come good, because the Reds were having a lot of chances, and obviously Meslier was, I don't know, before that we saw, obviously, you know, Darwin Núñez. I mean, there was like lovely play between him and Salah, and he could have scored like quite an easy goal. And then you saw Roberto Firmino's header, which was quite a weak header, and the keeper kind of saves it, spills it, and there's nobody there. And, you know, that we had a few corners and things, you know, we looked like we might get a chance somewhere, and it just didn't quite happen. But what did you make of that goal, when, you know, to be sucker punched like that and being outdone on the right? And of course, you know, that was, you know, where their goal came from. And I did not see a way back for us. So I want to see what you have to say on that.
I felt like it was coming. Especially, I think the keeper made a load of, you know, decent saves, but you'd be really disappointed if he didn't make them. But I think it was the save from Núñez where he's tried to bend it into the far corner, and then keeper makes a flying save, one for the cameras. And I thought, you know what, we seem to have so much of the ball, and, you know, we're just trying to work the wings, you know, we're trying to find the space, but then we're just getting impatient, we're just throwing in the crosses. I think Núñez take some ridiculous shot when there was no need to take it. It was from like 30 yards out or something. It
does skies it when we're 2-1 down as well, like a ridiculous shot from him. Like, we were just running out of ideas, weren't we?
Yeah, and I just felt like all night Leeds looked so full of energy. Their pressing was good. Again, they did look like they had an extra player on the pitch. They were everywhere. They were pressing us, when we had the ball at the back. And I think fair play to the lad Somerville. Not really seen him play before, but you can't help but feel or think about the old Bronski beat.
And do you know something? It could have been so much worse, because actually now a flashback came from a chance where I think again they hit us on the break on our right hand side, where I think Milner kind of lost his footing before he went 2-1, and then we're going to run and the ball's played to Bamford, and his first touch is so bad that Hendo's able to recover and put him off, and obviously it comes to nothing. But it was intense. Like they outdid us a few times.
Yeah, and sorry to go back to the formation again. I feel like if they were going to change this season, all of that should have been done in pre-season. They should have worked at it then. It seems to me like players are not aware of where they should be on the pitch. That's why you're seeing all these problems, and you see, when something happens down the right, lazy commentary. It's just because Trent's there, he's not a good defender, is he? But it doesn't matter who we play there.
But Dave, what pisses me off about that? Because against Man City, it was the same formation. Okay, obviously there were certain players involved, like Jota and things. But what I'm saying was everyone performed to their best. And I don't know now, and Del said this as well, I don't know if Liverpool are disrespecting or underestimating who they're playing. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if they've got this weird kind of superiority complex and it's just basically slapping them in the face. Because I have seen them play well in the system. They've got the players that can work the system. But against teams like this, it just goes to shit. Because against Man City, it did work. But then I know Pep went a bit crazy and played a 3-man defence, and he overthought his tactics, and maybe that just played into our hands. But that's what's frustrating me, is the fact that, like Del said, we seem to be playing a different game, bar the Napoli game, in the Champions League, albeit, Ajax, where we scored some great goals to kind of put that game and that game to bed. But I don't know what it is, because I felt like the team that he picked for Nottingham Forest wasn't great. And this time around, he picked the players that he had, which were probably his best. And they just, I don't know, wasteful. I don't know what's going on. It's just, I just don't get it.
I mean, we beat City twice this year, haven't we?
Yes.
The Charity Shield as well. But, it is a different game when you play the likes of City, though, isn't it? The game is a lot more about outer possession then, because City are going to have a lot of the ball.
Yes.
And you know how they're going to set up and you know how they're going to play. Whereas Leeds, a bit more of an unknown quantity. Like I say, they've been shit for most of the season. They like to press, but you think, well, they're still really shaky at the back. So, they've properly pulled one out of the bag tonight. But I think it's the games where, I don't know, do we underestimate teams? I'm not sure, but we definitely get complacent when we have a lot of the ball. We just seem to look sluggish. And again, there's so much quality in the side. The players are still top quality players. And, we've talked about Henderson and Milner playing too much. They're still quality. I don't care what anyone says. But when we've got a lot of the ball, we give the opposition so much time to get back into position. And because we just don't have that energy, where, again, you move it to the left. No, can't find any space there. Move it to the right. It's all so slow and sluggish. And I think it's the in-possession game that is really, struggling, I think, with us. Whereas when we play the better teams, I guess we're probably just a bit better tuned to that. I guess we'll find out when we play Spurs.
Well, indeed, who won today as well, and let's see how that goes.
Barely in the last minute.
Yes, yeah, but good for their confidence, though, right? I mean,
well, yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, just for their confidence. I mean, Lisa, what? Anything you kind of want to add to that?
No, not really. I mean, Dave, I do agree. You're right. I think, Henderson and Milner don't need to be just binned off. I mean, there is, a lot they can offer overall, but we're just having to play them too much. I mean, it just goes back to the same discussion or argument, if you will, that we've all been having, on be it Twitter, Discord, show, whatever, all season, that, we needed at least one midfielder in, over the summer, and we didn't get it. And between that and the injuries, we're having to play players should only be coming in for the last maybe 10 or 15 minutes of a game that we've already, are comfortably winning. And that's unfortunately just not the way it's being, it's working so far. So, we're seeing a lot more minutes from some of these players that should just be bench players. Mm-hmm. And yeah. So anyway, yeah. I don't know. I'm just, it's very depressing. And this is so new for me. This is a whole new, this is a new phase to my Liverpool fan experience. But frankly, I'm not enjoying.
Oh, bless you. Well, it's been the majority of mine. And the great run that you had, which was the majority of yours.
I know.
Yeah.
It's all
but you know what?
Right? It'll just make me appreciate the triumphs that come in the future all the more.
Absolutely, and you know what? That's it. You've got to be optimistic. It's the hope that keeps you going. I mean, guys, anything else you kind of want to say on this game? Because I just basically want to call it a day, and I know you want to get back to your margaritas and your fajita night and things. And Dave will probably cry and watch Match of the Day, and I'll probably do the same. Is there anything from the game that you kind of feel like needs highlighting that we've kind of not touched? Because I think we were just disgusted by the whole thing.
Yeah, I was just looking to see if anything in my notes was worth bringing up. I mean, it's really fun things like, wow, that was a crap cross, or anyway. We did second. I mean, I was really hoping, because we've had a couple of games where we did not play great in the first half, but, we came back and played well in the second half. And so I was really at halftime, it's 1-1. I was really thinking, okay, they go, down to the dressing room. They kind of get, whatever instructions and notes and whatever to get them sort of reinvigorated for the second half. And that just really didn't seem to happen. I don't think this time around, which is disappointing. So yeah, that was just one thing that I had written at halftime. It's like, okay, we need to fix this. And we really, but Thiago did have some beautiful passes. He really did. Yeah. Unfortunately, not all of his teammates could say the same thing. So, yeah. And I had even put, there was that one big miss that Bamford with Leeds had that I was like, that's the type of stuff that gave me hope that, okay, they've missed their chance. So hopefully we'll put one of ours in. And yeah, but nope, they took advantage of their chance too. And, well on them. But yeah, let's just, I don't even want to think about the fact that the next two games are Napoli and Tottenham. That just depressed me more.
Well, you know what? Knowing the Reds and the way they've been, they'll probably go and beat Napoli by 4 goals. This is the Liverpool that I'm used to.
Before we started, I said, what the hell? We beat Man City that we all expected to lose to, but then we lose to Nottingham Forest that, we should have comfortably beaten. I mean, it's really weird. Do we like the challenges? I don't know.
I have a theory. Liverpool just don't want any team to be relegated this season. There's my theory for it. And what about you, Dave?
Relegated. Let's just hope at this point it's not us.
Yeah, they're just starting their own little Super League. Dave, what about you? Any final takeaways from that game?
Well, I do like the idea that it's just Klopp, spreading some early Christmas cheer and just, handing out 3 points to Forest and Leeds. But no, I as we've been talking there, I'm just looking at that side again, and I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, how the fuck did we lose that? Again, I don't think Thiago could have played any better. I don't think he could have done individually that much more.
Nope, I agree. He was sensational.
Yeah, I think he misplaced like 1 or 2 passes that I saw, but definitely he couldn't have improved that much. I just think it's one of those times when we're just low. And again, I saw the whole decline through the 90s and the 2000s, the fucking Roy Hodgson. It can get a lot worse than this, trust me. So we're not there yet. I guess we're all just disappointed because we've seen this team. We know what this team is capable of. We're so much better than this. And like I say, I just hope that we can limp through to that World Cup. Everyone gets a break, the players come back from injury, and we're not so out of touch. Again, I've got the Napoli game for me. Just play the fucking reserves. Who cares if we finish?
Yeah, we're through. Second? Let's not risk injuring somebody important.
Yeah. So I don't care about that game at all. And then Spurs, okay, great if we do something there, but it's just get through to the World Cup, and then hopefully we hit the ground running after, because we desperately need a recharge of batteries from somewhere. I think the other thought I had, I was talking about having to bring Milner and Henderson on. I'm looking at the bench and Oxlade-Chamberlain. I just got to wonder, like, what is the point in keeping him around? Keita was apparently in training. Have we just written him off? Does Klopp not like him? Is he just...
Apparently, didn't Klopp say in his press conference before Ajax, I'm really annoyed because, I don't have players like Naby Keita in the squad, because obviously he didn't label him for the squad because he thought he'd be out injured or something. That's what Sky Sports were going with. And then when it comes to the league game, he doesn't even have him on the bench. I don't even, he's gone. You know what? There's no point even holding on to that hope. That player's gone.
Is he registered for Champions League? I mean, I know...
No, he's not registered. And I think that's what Klopp was alluding to, that, Naby's doing really well, but I didn't register him for the Champions League or something.
Because they thought it was going to be longer, yeah.
Yeah, and then he doesn't even play him in the league. Yeah. So
it's ridiculous. I don't understand. Why have these players around? I mean, Ox, just release him from his contract. If you never,
I think they're all done now. I think this is it. I think there needs to be a mass exodus. I don't care.
Yeah.
Get rid of them all.
I think there has to be a good turnover. I mean, Klopp, since he took over, there hasn't really been a massive changeover. The most has been like 4 or 5 players. That first summer that he had when he brought in the likes of Mane and Wijnaldum. That was about as big a turnover, but I think it needs it this time, doesn't it? And apparently, we hear the narrative that there's no value in January, which I think is bollocks. The amount of great players.
You only bought Virgil van Dijk and Luis Diaz and
Suarez,
yeah.
Coutinho.
No, I'm talking about Jurgen Klopp here.
Oh right, yeah.
I'm just focusing on him. Forget all the other great players we've signed in January. I'm just got the microscope on you there, Jurgen.
Yeah, so I mean, who knows? Will we be able to pick anyone up in January? I don't know. Again, I do think like maybe a couple of players would be enough, but the squad needs it. Someone to challenge Fabinho's place a little bit. I don't think that would do any harm. I don't know. I can't quite figure out, is it a mentality issue that he's got there? Is it the fact that he knows if he's fit, he's going to walk into the side? But I'd like to see another player like him challenge for that spot. And I just think we just need that refresh as soon as possible.
Zero complaints from here, and maybe anybody that's listening as well, and all the people are joining us on Discord. Right, guys, we have come to the end of the Nina Kauser Show. A massive thank you to John, Kieran and Del who called in. A massive thank you to these two excellent human beings who kept me company on this podcast. I feel a bit better now, which I didn't think was possible. Before I let them go, I want to I'm not doing man of the match. Fuck that. Can't be asked. Not doing it. Sorry. Not happening. And I think if we were to give it to somebody, it probably would be Thiago. And maybe some people might put in a shout for maybe Andy Robertson doing, having quite a decent game. But I think it would probably be Thiago. Am I right, people?
Yeah, I agree with both of those. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So plugs. Lisa, I'm going to come to you. Where can people find you on social media? And is there anything you'd like to plug?
They can find me on both Twitter and Instagram at LMarieMH. And latest episode 344 of the main Anfield Index podcast came out yesterday. Well, I think it came up today. We recorded it yesterday. I think it posted earlier today. So you can catch me with Trev Downey and Guy Drinkle on that. And we should be back again on Friday for the pod as well. So that's where you can find me.
Wonderful stuff. Do give Lisa a follow on Twitter and Instagram, and do check out the Main AI podcast because it is an absolutely brilliant show. And what about you, Dave? Where can people find you on social media? And, you know, if some fans want some escapism, I'm sure you've got the right tonic for them.
Well, yeah, so on Twitter, you can get me at Seattle Dojos, old No Treat, No Surrender reference. I talk football, movies, all sorts, comics, all kinds of crap like that. Main pod you can get me on is the VHS Strikes Back. So the next few weeks we've got coming up, we've got Karate Kid 3, we've got The Big Lebowski, and then as we start to hit that World Cup time, we've got Mike Bassett, England manager, which feels very, very apt for right now.
I love it. So do check out the podcast. Give Dave a follow as well. For my part, I did a Euro incision with Guy Drinkle, covering the Ajax game and all the shenanigans in Europe. Do check that out. Really enjoyed that pod. I'll be back again with another Euro incision after the Napoli game, and obviously just rounding up the group stages. And yeah, that's it for me. And of course, I'll be back with another Nina Kauser show over the weekend. Hopefully. Please don't make it 3 times Reds. Can't deal with that. A win would be great. But guys, thank you so much for listening. Take care. Till next time, up the Reds.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.